Yay Media Group.
And then another thing, you know, people from your past know you and know you've had a hysterectomy, and you're posting on Facebook
just
having
not caring.
a baby, not caring. You're mental. Hey guys, episode 253. It's been kind of a day for us. I feel like you've had a busy day at work and then you came home. Right now, Lawson is trying to give him his independence a little bit. I'm kind of strict about things and everybody else has a little more freedom, his friends. And it's hard for me to let him go. Like yesterday, he got on his scooter with his friend and rode away and I got teary-eyed. I was like, what am I doing? He was just going on a scooter ride around the neighborhood. But Jeff went to go get him an Apple Watch so I can track him, I can text him, I can find him, because I don't like him going on these rides when I don't have a way of getting a hold of him. I do have his friends' numbers, but I just feel more comfortable.
And he goes with friends that have watches and stuff.
Friends.
You got to let him spread their wings at some point. He's 9, but he's in our neighborhood. It's a nice neighborhood. He doesn't go outside the neighborhood. So, I mean, you just got to let them
even
do their
on the
thing
Disney
a little bit.
Cruise, you were like, okay, give him a little bit of freedom, a little bit. Because Lawson gets very Mom, you don't let me do anything. And then the other day I saw him just sitting in his room and then I felt bad. And I was like, okay. But I guess because I was wild and crazy, I'm going to be the opposite of that and be so strict. I was talking to...
Go.
Yeah. I was talking to a friend from high school and she was like, I'm like your mom. Her mom was so strict. And she goes, oh my gosh, you're like my mom. And I'm like your mom because I know how it was having a strict parent.
Yeah. No, I was. I mean, my brothers were 5 and 7 years older. I don't know what age, we had this busy street, Lawrence Avenue, between us and the Norridge Park where I grew up. And I would just ride my bike to practice. But I mean, I don't know if I was 9 going to practice, and that's a busy street. There's no busy streets here, but you do have to watch out for people in the neighborhood.
But that was the 80s too. It's so different.
Yeah, it was. I mean,
yeah.
I would just go, my friends would come over on their bikes or I'd go pick them up on their pegs, and then go to football practice or whatever. So I don't know, 9, I don't know. But when you're a parent, it's a little different. When you're a kid, you're like, I got it, Ma, but you got to let them figure things out. Like they got to fall down or they got to get nothing traumatic, obviously, but fall off your bike, fall off your scooter. Oh, I don't want to tell my mom, she's going to get mad because you know what I mean? They got to figure things out on their own a little bit without getting dramatically hurt or something tragic happening. But now that's all you hear. I mean, every single show on television, everything on the internet, it's like I don't want to helicopter them, but you got to let them go at some point. So just going around the neighborhood, not too far. Lawson's a very, very cautious kid.
He is.
And he's responsible.
Layton's the opposite.
Yes.
Layton's the one I worry about. I mean, Lawson, it's just, I don't know. It's just me being protective. And I do. I need to I need
But it's
to
nice when you keep an eye on them. Like my parents, they didn't have that.
I know.
Everyone's called someone down the street. Have you seen Jeff or something? You just know. Street lights come on, you come home.
Yeah. Exactly. We would be in the woods playing. And I remember there was only one time and it was getting really late and Peyton still wasn't back home. But she found him and he eventually showed up. But I just, you kind of just knew all right, they're playing. You just didn't worry.
My best friend growing up, Mimo, there's so many stories. Tony's going to get mad if I don't say his name in there. But Vitanton used to come over, and he'd put garbage cans because he was so little. But Mimo lived across the street, but to the right side, there was a Dunkin' Donuts, and then Mimo lived right over there. And Vitanton would come over, I think he's 9 or 10 years younger than us.
Yeah. How old were you when all this?
I mean, he'd come over all the time. But I mean, maybe we're say 18 or something, Mm-hmm. And so that means he was 8 and he was coming over and he's putting garbage cans by my window. And he'd in the summertime, he'd jump up on the garbage cans and be like, Jeff, are you awake? Jeff, come outside. And then Mimo's mom would call and be like, hey, is Vitaton there? Tell him come over right now. He was young. He was real young. He was younger than Lawson, but he'd always come over by himself and he never told his parents like where he went.
I feel like Vito is an old soul.
Oh,
and
for sure.
I've never taken him. Well, I think him and my brother are the same age, or maybe Peyton might be. No, I think Peyton might be a little older than him. And I think of him as way older than my brother.
I know.
He's just very mature. He's always.
Mature. Here's a Tony story. I remember this is how young Vito was. This is how long like I've been friends with those guys. It's crazy. So Mimo was home watching, I think his parents went to Italy every summer. So we'd go there and like party, because his parents were gone. But I don't know like what happened with Vito. Like Mimo wasn't watching Vito, not until he was a little bit older.
Maybe his sister.
But they weren't in Italy for sure. But like Italian ceramic tile, everything.
Yeah.
So like the basement ceramic tile. And me, Tony, and Mimo were down there and we were making like root beer floats because Vito he was in a crib and just like, when the babies pull themselves up. So we had to be, if he was like 0, we had to be like 10 or something, And we were making like root beer floats and Tony spilled the Coke and it broke on the ground. And like, you don't mess up like an Italian's house. And one of the neighbors, Carmel, came over. I hope I'm telling this right if Mimo's listening. And Tony got scared and he yanked the crib to cover up like the broken glass. And Vitanton did like a flip in the
crib or in the crib. Oh my gosh.
The crib. And like he flipped over and started crying and there was like this big mess and soda everywhere. And I think Vitanton, when he got a little bit older, pulled the carpet under Tony. Tony's got to come and tell this story. And I think Tony fell and cracked his head open. Like I'm getting all the stories confused, but that's how long. But I mean, you don't have to do things like that. But there's got to be times like, oh man, my mom's gonna get pissed. We got to clean this up instead of being like, Ma, I broke something. Come clean it. And Leighton's getting like that. Like I could see in his eyes, he's like, you're gonna be so mad. I broke something outside.
Yeah,
and he'll tell me.
My favorite is when Jeff starts drinking, or like if his Italian buddies are here visiting, and y'all tell your old stories. It's so funny. My favorite story is the goat story with your neighbor.
Oh, my next door neighbor
slaying the goat, and like all you could hear
was the sound of death. And that was outside my other window, so that my brothers were still there in the house, and like so the driveway one was the bigger room, and so when my brothers moved out, I moved into there, and so when growing up, I had the small room. And that was on the Italian side, my Giuseppe and all those guys. So yeah, the goats, I told you the goat story, right?
I don't remember. I mean, we've been doing this podcast so long that I'm sure we repeat our stories. I can't keep up. I can't keep up.
And speaking, I can't remember, like Tony Marty, like remembers every detail of every story.
Oh,
He's like, how do you not remember that?
Oh, I believe it.
How do you remember that? And then when he refreshes my memory, there's only so much storage in there. You know what I mean? I need a new card. I need to update my card.
We've had a lot of experiences. Today, though, switching gears, I had to take Leighton.
Anyways, to finish that story, my neighbors would walk goats. This is like how Italian it was. They'd walk goats up the driveway alive, and then they'd close the door and you'd hear, and just one after another. And then after like the afternoon, the garage door would open and there'd be like 5 goats skinned hanging upside down in the garage. And I was like, oh my God. I was just a little kid.
Would your garage like smell like with the heat and the humidity and like the blood of the goat?
Yeah, but maybe, I'm sure it did, but you hose it down or whatever. I mean, that's what they did like in the old country and they just brought it here. Now you probably go to jail. I mean, I don't think you could do that in a neighborhood anymore.
My grandpa, I remember
But they make wine, they make sauce every year. It's cool.
Yeah. All right, guys. So summertime is here. I got some really nice summer clothing from Quince. It's high quality. I got a great tennis skirt and this lightweight navy blue thin tank top that I wear on repeat all the time.
I like it because it's great quality and no big logos on there. I brought a lot of Quint stuff when we just went our vacation recently.
And it looks good on you.
Great Henleys. It's good fit, quality clothing at an affordable price.
And it looks super high end, but everything's at a very affordable price.
I think I said this before. If you ever go on Big Brother, that's the perfect clothing to wear on Big Brother because it looks good, but again, no logos.
It's true.
Quince has beautiful everyday pieces like 100% European linen pants, dresses, and tops with styles starting at just $32.
Their denim is soft and easy to wear, and their organic cotton sweaters are perfect for layering on cool summer nights. Everything at Quince is priced 50 to 80% less than similar brands. Quince works directly with ethical factories and cuts out the middleman, so you're paying for quality, not a brand markup.
And it's not just clothing. Quince has really become a destination for elevated essentials across home, kitchen, bedding, and beyond, making it easy to bring a more premium feel into everyday life.
Elevate your summer wardrobe. Go to quince.com/togetherness for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. Now available in Canada too. That's Quince, QUINCE.com/togetherness for free shipping and a 365-day return. Quince.com/togetherness. It's so different though, because like you're describing the goat driving through. This didn't happen in Charlotte, but I'm sure some places in Charlotte if it's way out in the country. But in Shawneetown, where my grandpa's at, whenever we would go visit them, sometimes it was like hunting season. And I was little and I didn't understand. And we rode by this house and there was a deer hung upside down and it was skinned.
Yeah.
And the whole thing was skinned. And I was like terrified. I'm like, what is going on? And then like people with their dead deer in the back of their truck.
Their pickup truck.
Yeah. But it's just so different because like in Charlotte, it wasn't like that.
I probably told this too, but another one of my buddies who lived next door to Joe on this side. I won't name everyone's like last name, but they're all very Italian. We used to go out, John, remember John?
Oh yeah.
So we'd go out with John and he's like, dude, my dad's so pissed. He's like, this rabbit is tearing up his garden and he's so pissed at it. And I was like, oh really? And he's like, he's out there like with a BB gun right now. And he's like, I was like, oh man. So like Saturday night, John would be like, hey, we going out tonight? I'm like, yeah. So I'd walk over to his house and, and he's like, I'm like, oh, what's going on, everybody? And we walk out and I go, what'd you guys have for dinner? He goes, my dad caught that rabbit and he ate it. He shot it and ate it.
That's so bad.
I guess if you're going to shoot it, eat it, right? You know,
but rabbits are so cute.
But that's like that. Talk about like cultures and different people's philosophies and whatever's going on in the world today. It's like people come from different places and they have their cultures. And if you go to their culture, that's what they do, you know, and eating meat and butchering your own meat. That's a good thing. You know, like if you're going to go hunting, I almost feel like I don't want to shoot an animal. But I'm getting to a point where I'm like, I probably should because I want to know what it's like to hunt my own meat, skin it. You know what I mean? Like you took this animal down and then feed your family with that meat.
That's so much work.
But you go to a grocery store and you don't know how it gets done. And there's thousands of pounds of meat in every single grocery store in every neighborhood across the country. Everyone knows how it gets done, but when you're in the grocery store and it's nice and wrapped, you don't think about it.
I think a lot of people now will buy a cow.
Oh yeah.
And then they split it. They split like the meat.
But I think there's something like here in Colorado, like to go out and get an elk and you have meat for the whole year. Yeah. I mean, that would be kind of cool, but I would be sad, but I think it kind of brings you there's some kind of connection. People are probably like, you're crazy. You know what I'm saying? It's like to do all that work and to get your own meat. That's how it should be done.
Right.
You know, there's some connection there, even though I would feel sad.
I just feel bad. Like we've said this on a couple podcasts ago. I wouldn't care about killing a gator, but I just feel bad I would feel bad killing an elk, deer, like a moose. Even a bear. Bears are mean, but I'd feel bad killing a bear too.
Yeah, but
it is cool when you see it in somebody's house.
So then you could think about it like this. I've heard other podcasts when they talk about like hunting stories. They release like those wolves here in Colorado, and they're all over the place, but they're ripping up ranches and stuff, and they're taking down cows, and they take down elk. So if you're an elk, would you rather just be eating a piece of grass and then bam, and hopefully it's a one shot, or would you rather get shredded by a pack of wolves? I mean, nature's going to take its course.
I know. I don't like wolves either. I would kill a wolf.
I know there's problem, like the ranchers hate it here because they are taking down like people's animals that's their livelihood. But I know a lot of people get uncomfortable talking about like things like that, but I don't know. I do feel like one day I want to do that. I think there's something cool.
I would like to just go somewhere and shoot a gun. And like when you have a target.
You go right back here.
Oh, I know. I hear them, but I'd go, I don't own a gun. I'd rather go like Zach, our neighbor who's trained and knows what he's doing, like to all of us, and like show us how to shoot a gun. And then I'd love to shoot a gun that's like wraps off, like, I'm not even saying this right, like a ton of bullets.
Oh, like an automatic?
Yeah, that would be cool.
What do you need that thing for? Why don't you just learn how to shoot a handgun?
I just want to see what it feels like to just shoot.
Have you ever shot a gun?
No.
A handgun?
Mm-mm.
Oh, really?
Guns always like made me nervous.
Yeah,
my parents had one.
When you go to a gun range or something, they're very, very like, you don't even mess around. Like you're always pointing out it's not loaded. Like everyone's very secure. Even when I went with Zach, like with all of his Green Beret buddies and stuff, like your gun's completely empty. It was shotguns, but they break in half, you know what I mean, to load it. You got to carry it over your shoulder. You do not point it at anybody. There's no messing around at all. And then when it's time to shoot, you step up, your gun's always facing out, then you load it, and it's they don't mess around. There's no messing around at maybe even backwoods, Alabama, things are, people are crazy.
You can do what you want.
Yeah. But at a gun range, you don't mess around.
Yeah. I wouldn't want to go in the random woods, but just seeing if I was good at shooting targets. Aren't you always curious?
I've been a couple times. Remember I went with Joe Mantegna for that Between Take show on CBS?
Oh, I forgot you did that. You've done so much, and I forget about it.
That was a cool show, and I went shooting with Joe Mantegna. So we shot handguns and we shot shotguns. It was cool.
I forgot about that. You have done so much that we forget about.
And I used to go hunting for pheasant with my dad.
Yeah, well, you shared that story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. But I've only been a couple times. We're not big gun people, but that's another thing. Maybe I should get a gun. The world's a little crazy.
Well, I talk to people around here, and a lot have guns, but they all have them put in safes.
Yeah. That's my biggest thing.
Yeah. I don't know. They just make me nervous.
Anyway, speaking of crazy people, do you want to talk a little bit about that documentary we watched yesterday?
There's so much I want to talk about today. If I look like crap, I'm sorry. Leighton has some virus. I took him to the doctor today, and I feel like I'm coming down with it, and I can just feel it in my face, and I'm not feeling great. So if I seem down, I'm not down. I'm just not feeling 100%. But we have so many things to talk about. First, let's talk about the documentary because you brought it up. And then I'm so sad about Jelly Roll and Bunny divorcing.
We'll wrap up with that.
But we'll talk about this is the most.
What is the name of the?
Maternal Instinct.
Maternal Instinct on Netflix. Man, the stories just get crazier and crazier. And this was only, 7 years
2020
ago?
2020,
2019.
I almost said 2020 ago. In 2020.
Yeah, so 7 years ago.
Yes, I've never heard the story before.
I don't know how it was in national news.
This is probably the craziest documentary I've ever watched.
I thought the documentary we talked about with the mom who texts the boyfriend.
Oh, I thought that was worse.
I thought that was crazy.
This doesn't even compare.
I don't want to ruin, in case people don't know. Ending. I think some people are familiar. We talked about it at work today, just with my coworkers. And I guess there was a Lifetime story kind of based roughly on that. But this is straight from the people that went through it. And it is just so insane. You never know what people are capable of,
Oh, no.
And basically, I don't even know how far I want to go deep into this thing.
Just don't give away the ending. But I feel like as you're watching it, because it clicked to me, the ending. And I said it to you a couple times and I was like, see, I told you. But this girl started dating this guy and she fakes her pregnancy. Let's start with that.
She has 2 kids, right?
Yes.
She has 2 kids and something happened to her that you do find out. They tell you pretty early on in the documentary, she can't have any more kids. She got her uterus removed with her second kid. There was some sort of
what is it? Hysterectomy?
Hysterectomy, yeah. And so there's no way she could have kids, right? And it builds up to that a little bit, just like going about this girl's lies, and she lies about every single thing in her life. It's like to keep up with all those lies is like
that would stress me
oh
out.
My God.
But this is the thing. Okay, so everybody knows like she fakes her pregnancy, but
it kind of tells you that in the trailer. It definitely
so
tells
I'm
you
not
that.
giving anything away. But there are 2 things that stuck out to me. One, she bought the fake belly, right? Like her growing bump. The guy never saw it. Like they didn't have sex for 4 months, but like you weren't like, hey, let me put my hand on the belly to see if I feel his kicks. You did that when I was pregnant with Lawson. Or like you would touch my stomach, or I would be on the couch and be hot and I'd have my belly up showing. And for what, 10 months she was pregnant? 10 months.
For 10 months. Yeah. She passed her due date for like a month. Yeah, that's later on.
That is later on. But that was one thing. And then another thing, people from your past know you and know you've had a hysterectomy and you're posting on Facebook
just
having a baby, not caring. You're mental.
And she lied about all these money things that
came from a rich family.
Yeah. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. And I feel so bad for like this family, especially the guy, because he's like,
he had no money.
He's just a farmer, like a rancher. And then he gets deep into it. And then she's trying to brainwash everyone. And then there's like HIPAA laws and the hospital kind of knew what was going on.
Still is like the hospital couldn't share any of our information. All right. So starting a business can be it's very intimidating and it can be very scary, but Shopify makes it so much easier and makes it smoother for you so you can get your business started.
Right. And the best thing to do is just get started. I think everybody has a dream of starting their own business, but they don't know where to start because it's very hard and confusing. Shopify makes it so easy. They have ready-to-use templates, so you don't need to put all that stuff together. You just go on there, pick what template you like that fits your style, and you just plug your stuff right in. It's a plug-and-play website that's really easy to use for everybody.
I feel like everybody now, anytime you order something, everyone uses Shopify because it's so much easier to make your brand and make your business look so much more professional. And you did it.
Now we're rebranding our new Togethermess website through Shopify.
Get started with your own design studio with hundreds of ready-to-use templates. Shopify helps you build a beautiful online store that matches your brand style. Accelerate your efficiency, whether you're uploading new products or trying to improve existing ones. Shopify is packed with helpful AI tools that write product descriptions, page, headlines, and even enhance your product's photography.
So get the word out like you have a marketing team behind you. Easily create email and social media campaigns wherever your customers are scrolling or strolling. It's time to turn those what ifs into with Shopify today. Sign up for your $1 per month trial today at shopify.com/togetherness. Go to shopify.com/togetherness. That's shopify.com/togetherness. Get started today.
No one can share your information.
When you know someone's like, out to lunch, to put it lightly, and they're going to do something extreme. Like they put the hospital on lockdown because they knew she couldn't have a baby. So they're like, we don't want her coming here and trying to steal a baby. Like they were aware. They were aware.
The fact.
And they couldn't tell anybody, which that seems crazy to me. Like if your kid is a school shooter or something, like, I don't know. I kind of compared the two. Like if your kid's capable of that and that, you got to do something about that.
I think they can get sued. I mean, listen, I don't know. I don't work in the hospital. I should ask some of our friends. I have some friends that work in the hospital. I should ask that. But like I have to sign off, like when I'm at a doctor's office, that I have to put your name down that it's okay for them to leave a text message or leave a voicemail sharing my results. And I always put that it's okay that you know the information. Well, like they need to know that, which I think is weird with that we're married. Like, why wouldn't you want somebody to know that? But I always put you down.
There's so many things, like you could just go online, find out who everyone voted for. When someone Justin Timberlake gets a DUI, the whole thing's out there to embarrass his life. Like, but when you know it might harm somebody's other child because they're fucking crazy, you can't say anything about it, but you could put everyone else's personal information out there that are trying to mind their own business, that don't want their business out there.
I thought she was as crazy because she would just come off as this country girl that was super sweet and you don't think that. And then in a small town, she had
a baby reveal of the gender and named the gender and was like posting every day about like, can't wait to see you. What? That's insane.
She's carrying on a lie that she's got to keep up with the lie.
But then it's not going to, the hospital knew it wasn't going to end good. And I mean, by what we're saying, it doesn't end good. You know that. And that could have been prevented is what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. Everyone else's information is out there. You could find out what people paid for their house, what their mortgage is. Mm-hmm. That girl went on a website, and why is there even a website where you could get an ultrasound to fake an ultrasound? Why is there even such a website?
I know.
I don't understand.
Well, again, like I said, these people in the South, the people are just more trusting. And she came across it in the beginning as people are talking about her. She was fun that you could see in the videos, and she came across as normal. And then she got dark. Like once she got in with that guy, and then you can see the guy. He's like probably messed up now from what she did. Anybody would be messed up.
Yeah, I guess you get somewhat like a little brainwashed. You
do.
Know? And you're just like, you don't believe I'm not comparing our relationship, but sometimes you just go like, yeah, man,
you leave me alone because I get crazy.
Yeah, because I don't want to make the situation worse. By no means is it comparing the two, but I understand like his point of view. Like, I'm just going to leave this one alone. But it got so crazy where I'd be like, I would definitely ask some questions, and be like, all right, what's happening? I haven't even seen your stomach this whole pregnancy.
And she bought all the baby stuff and
set up the
bottles.
Where was she going?
I don't know.
Where was she going in her mind? How did she think this was going to end?
How it ended.
Oh my God. Check it out. It's disturbing, but
it's so disturbing. And it's something that a lot of you all wrote me on Instagram. And that's why I started watching it, because y'all were like, oh, you and Jeff have to watch this. This is right up your alley with shows you talk about.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just crazy. It's really, really
and then how
crazy and disturbing.
She blamed her mom for everything. Like, oh, well, my mom's, because she's faked that she was rich. And then she's like, well, my mom is just taking the money away from me and my grandma's helping me. And I could see where people would all get manipulated by her. Like that guy's boss and his wife stuck up for her.
I don't know, man. Check it out for yourself.
But I feel like crazy. What's scary is there's people out there like that have those type of personalities where they can make you feel comfortable and be like, oh, no, she's not like that. Everybody's wrong about her. And then boom.
Dude, I don't want to go into it maybe another time, but I just watched this documentary on HBO about like this crazy guy
cult.
It was like this cult, but it was like models, like the top male model in the world got into this cult and left his family and then moved to New York and started booking all these jobs. And he became the highest paid male model in the world.
He was?
Yeah.
Wait,
he was like part of that cult.
Oh, that they interviewed, not the one guy, not the main.
Yeah, he was part of it. He left his family.
He left his family to start a cult?
Not start a cult. They thought alien spaceships were coming.
No, they didn't.
I swear.
How do you convince people that aliens spaceships?
And this guy had a TV show on like Access Cable TV. And then that guy who started this whole thing was like, he knew everybody at Studio 54 and would go to all these parties and bring only good looking people in. And then he set this guy up with like Ford Models back in New York City, one of the biggest modeling agencies. And then he became like this superstar modeling agency, cut his family off because the guy told him to. All this crazy stuff. They had lived this secret, like they had this secret life, and he was traveling all over the world and then would come back. And he said, like, not knowing now, I would not secretly, but like recruit people from his modeling jobs and be like, listen, I'm part of this great thing. It's all positive. This guy's great. You got to talk to him. And they suck you in. And then, everything ends. This guy ends up having, wild gay sex with all these dudes, and like he ended up getting AIDS, whatever. And
that hot model guy got AIDS?
No, not him.
The other guy.
The other guy was, and then they're very promiscuous. At first, he didn't want them to have sex. Then he was all into sex, and he's like, every cult, no matter what it is, ends in everybody banging each other. That's what, but this guy kind of snapped out of it at the end, and he's reliving the stories, and he has all this pay, and he started this business, and they moved to, you ever hear of Lake Lure in North Carolina?
Oh, Lake Lure. Yeah.
That's where they moved because they thought that was the best spot for the aliens to pick them up. I'm not even kidding.
If somebody came up to me.
And they all moved down there. That was like their fortress. They had a place in New York City.
Together?
And they all lived together.
And who paid for this guy? And this guy
would take his modeling money and give it back to like the
so
cult.
He's broke now.
He did get broke at one point, yeah. I mean, it's a 3-part documentary. It's wild. It's wild because this guy was like the top, like he was on all the talk shows. He was in every single magazine, and he was the highest paid male model in the world.
If some person came up to me and said, hey, we're going to go out to this lake because this is where the aliens are going to come get us.
Yeah.
I would be like, you are out of your
He was like
mind.
into astrology and all these things he was saying.
Did he come from a broken home? Because normally I feel like people who fall for cults are broken.
I forgot now.
Like had a bad relationship and broke up and then you're lost.
So I think he got adopted by this well-to-do woman. I think that's what it was. So he grew up in his high society life, And then he just knew everybody. He was a socialite in New York City, and he modeled too. And he only brought in good-looking people. Like if you were ugly, you wanted nothing to do with you. You couldn't get into the cult. It was nuts. It was nuts. I just watched the last one yesterday. But this guy's telling it from a first point of view, and he feels a lot of regret, and he's well-spoken, and he's like, this is what I was feeling at the time. And
how did he get out?
Well, the guy eventually died. And then
because of the aliens came and got him?
No, he got AIDS. And he didn't even tell anybody he got AIDS.
Oh.
And I mean, I don't know. It was all very secretive, and they have different people that were in the cult there, and they loved this guy. They really loved him.
Isn't it crazy now how you can have AIDS and you can live, and like back then there was no cure for it, and you passed away?
I know, but that's a wild one too. I forgot. It's on HBO about good-looking models if you guys want to check that out. But yeah, it's you think maybe like you're immune to that, but like the Nexium cults, all that stuff, they all start off with like good purpose. Like if I met somebody back in the day and they helped my modeling career or whatever, and they got me in with the top agency and I was booking
like
jobs.
When you first moved to LA.
Yeah, I would, and there was no like sex at all, like anything like that. And they're just trying to help you because he met him up in the Hamptons or something, and then kept in touch with him. It wasn't like that. It was a summer by summer, and then one thing led to another,
I feel like.
But it's like if someone's trying to help you, like that Nexium cult, like I'm in LA, you're broke, you have no friends, and all of a sudden you meet these people that are all about positivity and want to help you, and it's like a little community. I would be open to that, and I think your mind gets so far deep into that. And then the next thing you know, there's wild fucking sex parties going on. And you're like, what's up?
I could totally see you back in your early 20s because you were kind of like, let's love everybody and everything, and everybody's good.
Because you want to believe in that. You want to believe in the positive.
positive.
I still like preach positivity, but I don't take it to a cult level. But you know what I'm saying? Like, why can't someone just be good for the purpose of being good? Why does it have to always end with, I'm going to have sex with all your, I'm going to have sex with all your wives and all your husbands, and that
somebody always has
spaceships
intentions.
coming. It's like it's all the same. They're all the same. They all end with, I'm the only one, I'm the leader, and I have sex with everybody. I mean, the thing in Waco, I mean, all of them.
Yeah, that one documentary we watched for the guy and the girls.
Yeah, they all end like that. All of them. Whatever cult that you look on, they all end like that. I don't know if everybody knows this, but I have trouble falling asleep at night and I have to wake up really early. So one of the products that I actually use is Lumi. I take their gummies at night. I don't get high or anything like that, but it just helps me wind down and get to sleep faster.
Well, it's summertime now and we're always with our kids. It can be stressful. You work all day and then you come home and then it can be a little chaotic at times and you just want something that you can unwind to and relax and get that good night's sleep.
That's right. And you wake up with no hangover, anything like that. It just gives me a really good night's sleep. And it's one of the products I actually use and it works great for me. They're consistent, mellow, and super delicious. Lumi gummies are specifically designed to make you feel good, not stoned. Whether you're looking for an end of day de-stressor, a midday mood boost, or help getting the best sleep ever, Lumi gummies have a strand that's right for you. They also come in 1 milligram or 5 milligram gummies, so you can get the exact dose you're looking for. I'm a 5 milligram guy, and that's what I do. It helps me relax. Again, not high, just very mellow. Throw on Curb Your Enthusiasm, and it's nighty-night time.
Lumi gummies are available nationwide. Go to lumigummies.com. That's LUMI gummies.com and use code Togethermess for 30% off your order.
Again, that's LUMIgummies.com. Use that code Togethermess. That's lumigummies.com and use that code Togethermess.
Oh my gosh, I could see you, Big E and Donovan, being in a cult.
What's funny is one of the guys on there reminds me of my buddy Donovan. Like, he's a good looking guy. And my buddy Donovan tried to infiltrate Scientology and they sniffed him out. They sniffed him out. But I think Donovan definitely could get Donovan
he
could
would
definitely
totally
get
be in a cult. I don't know if he listens to this podcast, but he would totally follow the cult and talk you and Big E into it. Because Big E too is always trying to find himself, just like you were. Y'all all three would be screwed. Remember that one time we were at one of your friends' house? I'm not. We were at one of your friends' house. I'm not gonna be vague. I don't want to give it away. And there was this one girl there. She was so weird, and she was hanging out with all of us, and like she was talking to me one-on-one, and I had a few drinks, and I was like, "Who am I talking to right now? Like, what is happening? Do you remember this?
I know what you're talking
Somebody's backyard.
Yes, I know what you're talking about.
And everything was just weird. And I was like, I got to get out of this conversation. Like, I feel like I wouldn't be tricked.
I don't think that person meant harm. They're just like new agey.
Weird.
I know, they're just new agey. And if it makes you feel good, I don't know.
No, I feel like it's an LA thing to be.
It is a little,
like,
it's very, if you are
cool and weird. And like she dated this at one time. He was an A-list actor. You know?
I gotcha.
And I was just like, oh my God, we're done.
But that's what I mean. I think it takes time to get into it. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I don't think you just go there and you're like, oh yeah, I met this guy. I totally trust him. I'm going to go. I think it's like,
there are some people that would totally be like, oh yeah. But I don't know. I wish I had a camera on my face the whole time I was sitting there.
But don't you think religion is a little bit like that, or politics is a little bit like that? Like you belong to a group. Nobody's having sex cults or anything like that. But
Maybe
your mind gets influenced into like, this is the road I'm going down. And
this is what I believe in. I feel like if you don't have any type of spirituality in your life, whatever that may, for me, it's God. I feel like if you don't have anything in your life at all, because life is always going to be hard. It doesn't matter if you're rich, you're poor, middle class, whatever it is, whether you have the best husband in the world, the best kids, your life is always going to be hard and throw curveballs at you. And you have to have some type of spirituality. I feel like I say that wrong, to get you through the hard times.
I believe that too, but there's probably people listening to this podcast, and there's definitely people not, that are like, you're crazy or we're crazy, you know?
But I keep my stuff. I mean, yes, I'll share my faith, but I'm not like in people's face, like bashing it, like in their heads.
No, and not at all. I'm saying there's a touch of it. There's a touch of it in those things. You know, like there's a reason why when you go to California, especially LA or Hollywood, you're voting liberal on that side. You know, not to, again, people get turned off with politics, but it's like it's not a cult, but you're living the way other people live there. And if you go to backwoods Alabama, I'm sure you're not thinking those same things that people are in LA.
Yeah, because country people are like, they're weird.
But they both think each other's weird. Do you know?
I see what you mean. And then LA people are like, that's one-minded.
But if you go to, you gotta give into that mindset a little bit to fit into the quote unquote tribe.
I feel like LA is more so people who have been like, I'm different. I don't fit in my hometown, and I'm going over here and I'm going to be accepted. And that's pretty much all of LA.
But I'm sure there's
or you're like, I'm
going
to be an actor, or like how you were like, I want to be an actor, or I want to be this. Like I didn't really like fit in with those people because every time we went somewhere, it's like everybody's talking about their dreams and their vision board and making all this stuff.
See, I like that.
I know. And I would just be like, what is going on here? Like, can we not just like have beers and play beer pong? Why are we like getting deep in our feelings? And like everybody wants to sit around the table and sing Kumbaya. Like, what is going on?
But going back.
Or like, I'm vegan. I can't have this Thanksgiving dinner.
Going back to the start.
That was a jab at somebody.
Of the conversation. Like with different cultures and things. I enjoy talking to people that aren't like me. I enjoy learning about where you came from, the cultures, your beliefs. When it gets into like a war, like you're mad at me for something that I believe, if it may be God, that's crazy. You know, and that's where I think you get pushed into like-minded thinking. And that's where I think, I'm around all these people that think like this. I got to think more like this. Oh man, the leader's paying attention to me. I got to adapt his beliefs, whatever he's telling me. And over time, you turn into that person. Yeah. You know, you are who you hang around with.
You are.
And that's where I think people not knowing that are just, this guy was well-educated, you know, obviously good looking guy making money and giving it all away. And it's just, I don't know. People, I'm fascinated. And then you see crazy people on the internet. It's like, there's so many different types of people, you know, and we get pigeonholed day to day because of one thing or another. And there's so much more to people.
How about have common sense and just be done with it?
Exactly. The golden rule.
Okay, wait, before we go, I want to talk about.
This is already getting long.
I know. I just have to say this really fast.
Go for it.
I love Bunny. I think she is so real. I feel like.
Talk about different walks of life.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. Like she totally opposite type of life as me, but I feel like people relate to her in a different way because she is so real and open about she was like an escort, you know, like a high-end escort. But I loved her and Jelly Roll together. And I love how he was in prison and then he look where he's at now. And like she took in his daughter and all that stuff. And now they split up. It's just sad. I don't know anything. I don't think anybody knows what really happened. But they said she's already with somebody else. So I don't know if that's true or not, but I like her a lot.
You want to just keep this rolling and talk about her a little bit? Or do you have a lot to say?
No, they were just like a cute couple, I felt like. And I just liked how real they were. And she looks really good.
And he talks, I mean, if you haven't heard Jelly Roll, maybe you might not like his music. I like his music. If you've never heard his story or heard him on a podcast, you should try to listen to him because he is very honest. I like that. I like when even this guy in the documentary I was talking about, he's like, I got taken advantage of. You know, like I don't know what happened. People do bad things. You know, nobody's life is perfect, including Jelly Rolls. And he talks about his humble beginnings and some of the trouble he got in the relationships. And he's very thankful for where he's at now. I like that transformation in people. Like you got to fall down. You got to trip. You got to fall. You got to lose to appreciate where you've been. Mm-hmm. If everything's always roses and you're born with a bunch of money and you might think of course you're still going to have problems, but you don't appreciate the good times. But your problems
are different than everybody else's problems.
Right. Yep. I don't know. I just like when someone, I did bad. They're very open with their life. And
that's why I think I like both of them so much is that he seems like he's so humbled and appreciative of where he's at.
Right.
And I like that she's like, hey, I was an escort. I did this. And it's just because I'm not an escort. I'm like, wow, like what was your life like? Like what was your life like with your family? Like I just want to hear her story because I didn't have a life like that. And it's just interesting. And she's just very open.
Yeah, I like that about people. And I don't know what happened because the last time I heard, he's always talks so highly of her. He's like, I wouldn't be where I am without her.
Well,
and he lost all that weight.
Well,
and
that
she
everybody's saying because he got skinny. And they're like, she was with him when he was fat. Now he's gotten skinny and they're getting a divorce. But again, that's people talking. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. On one podcast I listened to him on Joe Rogan. He was on, and he cries all the time. And he's like, we couldn't even have sex. I was so big.
Well, where would you find it?
Yeah, he's honest about everything.
And
he's
he
honest.
probably hurt her.
And he's like, man, Joe, I get after it.
Yeah, but he too probably has women throwing themselves at him because he's rich and he's famous now, and everybody wants to be famous. But maybe it just shows like what you see on television and what you see on the internet isn't real. Like, because on the outside looking in, they looked perfect. Like everything was going good. And then it was a shocker to me when I saw the next day that they were divorced, because I was like, wait, no, but maybe they are like best friends because they've been through so much together, and maybe there isn't that love anymore. Maybe there's not sex anymore. Maybe it's just like, you know what? We're just good friends. Again, I don't know anything.
We're totally speculating.
I don't know anything, but I'm just saying, like, maybe she's like, listen, I want something else. And maybe he was like, I want something else too. And I'm sure, I don't think it's anything like negative. I hope it's not. And I love like her relationship with his daughter.
Yeah, I know. Well, I'm sure we'll find out.
Yeah, that's it.
I'm glad you got that off your chest.
I know.
I'm pulling for Bunny and
I do. I like
Jelly.
her. All right. That's it. Sorry we went a little long. We will see you guys next time. Anything else you want to say? Oh, do your quote.
Oh, okay. Let's do a small one.
You know what, lately?
What, love?
I've never been a red person, like a color red person. And lately, I want everything red. Isn't that weird?
That is weird because I don't like red. On me. I don't like red on me. What? I don't.
Jeff changed it real quick, his answer.
No, I don't like red on me.
I know.
And if we're going to be honest, those big, bright red yoga pants that you have.
Oh, I love those. They suck in my fupa.
Yeah, they should have blinkers on them. All right, ready? Be yourself. Life is precious as it is. All the elements for your happiness are already here. There is no need to run, strive, search, or struggle. Just be.
All right. Sounds good. See you later. Bye.